Welcome to Your Next Stop. This is Juliette Hahn. I am a wife, mom, virtual coach, public speaker, and crazy obsessed dog lover. I am so honored to be able to take you into the life of someone that has followed a passion. Every week, I hope you are as inspired as I am. Welcome to Your Next Stop.
Welcome to Your Next Stop, guys. Again, I have another woman that has followed a passion and turned it into a career. I cannot wait to introduce you to Stephanie Deininger, and I cannot wait to hear her story. So her social media is called The Organized Flamingo. Now, I mean, just with that, don't you want to know more about her story? So welcome, Stephanie.
Hello. So nice to be here, Juliette. I'm so glad I got to meet you.
Yes, I'm so glad. Now, we met on Clubhouse, or was it LinkedIn?
We did. We met on Clubhouse. Another friend of ours, Stephanie Moram, who also was on your podcast.
That's right.
Guided me over to you. Yeah.
That's right. And you guys, if you haven't checked that, that's The Good Girl Gone Green. That's another great episode to check out. So yeah, that's right. That's how I never can keep anything straight these days. Okay. So Stephanie, I want to hear, first of all, I want to hear your story first, and then how you came up with the Organized Flamingo. Cause I love flamingos, first of all. And I just think it's like so cool. I'm thinking that you love them too. But so if you could just take us through your journey and how you got where you are.
Awesome. Okay. Well, here we go. Okay. So yeah, the name of the company is the Organized Flamingo. And at the core of what I do and what we do is we organize people, places, things in a systematic way. So we study habits, we study the human behavior so that we can provide proven results when you're trying to organize. So it's a lot deeper on the back end. Like, we do the studies for you. And then what ends up happening is when we have clients who need help organizing their closet, somebody or a business client that may need their operations kind of their administrative operations cleaned up or organized, we have the background to do that systematically with a purpose. So that's what we do at the core. And it is something that I've always been so passionate about. I mean, from college, I've always been, consider myself very organized, but my brain works that way. Like, my brain works in ways that I see the way that things can be streamlined when sometimes others don't.
Okay. So Stephanie, yes, when you said that your brain always worked that way. So as a child, were you organized as a child?
I was. I loved things, being lined up and did with rhyme and a reason and did clusters and batching things together. But that was just like who I was. It wasn't anything that it was weird to me, or it wasn't anything that was abnormal. It was just the way I was. So I didn't know that was a gift until I was about a little bit at the beginning of college, when I started to realize that that's a good thing. That's a gift. So
it is, and that is a really good thing, because I'm not organized actually at all, but I'm organized in a different way. So I am definitely organized. Like, people will be like, well, how do you know where everything is? I have to have everything out, because if I put it away in a drawer, it's gone and I don't remember it, which is sometimes annoying, because it is like, oh wait, someone put that bill away. Well, I didn't look in that drawer. That's where the bills go. Well, I need it out, or I can't do it. So I love that. So did you go to college to kind of like, what did you study in college to even hone this in even more?
Yeah, no, I went to college for communications, and I did work in communications for a while. But in college, while I was going through college, I worked at a company and doing administrative stuff. And that's when I realized that was not only a gift, but that I could do something really big with this. And I had a wonderful mentor in that organization, and he was the president of the company, of the division. And he basically, his administrative assistant was going on maternity leave. And again, I'm in college. And he said, you know what? She's going just for a couple months. You do a great job. You seem like a well-qualified person. Would you mind being my administrative assistant while she's gone? I said, yeah, absolutely. And she decided not to come back after her maternity leave. And he said, do you want this job full time? And I said, well, I'm in college and I need to go to school.
Right.
And he's like, you got this. He goes, you basically gave me reins to go and do the job however I wanted, and said, just as long as stuff gets done, you go to school whenever you need to, you take the breaks whenever you need to. And he took me under his wing. I mean, he truly was the most patient person, and basically said, you can do so much and some big stuff with the talents that you have, which I thought, like, if you don't, I wish more people would do that. He was really not only saying like, this is the only thing you can do, like you can, only administrative stuff. He basically recognized my gifts and said, you can do this on whatever levels you want to do. So he took me under his wing and he taught me all about corporate America and how it kind of all works. And I was in board meetings. This is like in college. So this was like real life.
Yeah, I have to interrupt you because that's so cool. And what you said there is really important because obviously he was a very confident man, right? He was confident in his abilities and he saw what you could do in your abilities. So I love that. And it's so true. A lot of people don't get that. A lot of people will get a boss, and not a lot, I shouldn't say that, but there's the boss that kind of shoves you down and it's like, this is your place. I don't want you to do it. And I have to helicopter you. But he saw that you had talent. So I got the chills when you were saying that. I loved that he saw that. And the fact that you I'm going to take you back to your childhood again. I always kind of do that. But were your parents super organized? Like, is that something like in your house you saw your mom being organized? Obviously, it was innate in you, but it also could be hereditary, right? You could.
My mom and dad both are very streamlined, very organized people in different ways. Different ways. My mom's a little bit more like you. Like she has her own systems, and my dad's a little bit more systematic. He's a veterinarian. He's more scientific, like in that level, and she's more creative. So, but they're both very organized people in how they do things. Yeah.
Right. And so did they let you as a child kind of organize how you saw things, or did you fold into how they organized themselves? If that makes sense.
They just let me do my thing. Both of them gave me, their feedback or tips, but at the end of the day, it was however, like I had my own room and would do the stuff that however I wanted it to be. I was also involved in so many activities in school, in high school, especially high school. But I was that kid, that loved organizing parties and the prom and was in sports. And I was a yearbook editor. And so my parents just let me do my thing.
Right. So, so you obviously were driven also at a young age, now, do you have siblings as well?
I don't.
You don't? Okay. Because I was going to say, I wonder if they were the same, because I think in siblings way, like you see different ways people organize. Like I know for myself, I organize a certain way. My sisters organize a different way. I am probably typically more messy. And my daughter was really funny because she's a little bit too, but we were just reading some articles saying actually, creative minds are a little bit more messy in the way it looks like they're organized. And so like, I was like, it's a positive. I know it's like, seems like, okay, yes, our things are around, but there's a reason for it. So I love that your parents did that. I love that you had a mentor that really took you under his wing and was confident about it, because that's so important. And so you did that. And also you were confident in your abilities. And we're like, okay, I'm going to do both of these things, which are two very important things. So you went into the board meeting. So take us through a little bit more of that as you finished college.
Yeah. So I was doing the first hands experience. I mean, talk about an internship that was like beyond giving, making coffee. He really, and he didn't make it seem like an internship. He truly, when we were in board meetings and I was taking notes, he would introduce me as, this is Stephanie. I was in the back. I was with him. And so that lasted for about 2 years. He was also getting ready for retirement. So I think that also played a little bit in like him wanting to leave a legacy behind and being a lot more patient. So then he retired. I ended up switching to another division within the company, and then assisted other executives as well. And that was wonderful as well. But, those first 2 years for me were pivotal. But it also kind of spoiled me a little bit because I just assumed all executive men in the boardroom were just as giving and as amazing and patient, and we're not as narcissistic. And so later on in life, I just assumed that all of them were like that, and they were not at all. Actually, quite the opposite. And that is one of the reasons I did a full circle. I owned 2 businesses while also working at that place, because I knew that I wanted to do something like on my own, but he was so wonderful and the company was so wonderful that I didn't want to leave. Right. So I left, but on the side, I was still building my company. And I got out of college. I did my own events organizing business for a couple of years, for about 5 years. But in the there was an overlap with corporate life and then my own thing. When I got out of there though, and then did my own thing. I went to another corporate America type of job for a little bit. And that's when I realized I am so spoiled. This is, if I can't have that kind of mentorship that I had before, then I want to go back to doing my own thing. And that's how the Organized, and then actually went back to school to get my MBA, then started the Organized Flamingo. And then here I am now.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay. So when you went back to get your MBA, what did you go back and study?
Well, I ended up doing the business and, just not much like playing, but just the master's in business. And then my thesis was about where our workforce is going in the next 3, 5, 10 years. And for me, that was important as an entrepreneur, because I was starting to notice that more and more, especially women, wanted to start their own businesses, but yet we were still considered a small business, like the solopreneur. And why weren't we going, why weren't we scaling? And so that was part of the study. It was where are we going in the next 3, 5 years? Also, what was very interesting, women were doing their own businesses, whether it was in direct sales, whether it was their own business, just like a whole new idea. And why was it that we just couldn't quite make it to the next level? So that intrigued me, which is why I did my thesis, and where is our workforce going in the next 3, 5, 10 years? And as I did all my research, is when I realized more and more how much I wanted to still continue to do my own business. Yeah.
Which is so important, which I love that you kind of came, like it all came kind of full circle. And it's true, like you did have a great experience in your first experience, which is so lovely that you could look back and be like, I loved that. And then I continued and I was like, no way. So I think that's brilliant. And I absolutely love that. So now I want to hear how you got, and I love your thesis. That's what I was like, kind of like, what did you hone in on? And that's so important, because you're right. There's so many people, but I do see it in working with my clients as well, women that just don't feel like their voice should be heard, or they don't feel like they have a platform. And there's, like, I always say to them, you have an idea. It can be as you said, like yours was organization. You can come up with anything. I have a friend that has a greeting card business. She loves to write. She loves greeting cards. She has an Etsy store. There's so many different things that you can do that people don't think that they can do, but they truly love, and you can turn it into business. That's why I have my workshop, to help them hone in on what their creative passion is and then how to turn that into a business. And I think it's important for us as women, but also, I mean, I have 2 sons, so I always say it's not like I also want my sons to know, especially as time goes out and they go into the workforce, it's going to be harder for their generation to get out there and work for other people. So working for yourself is so important, but you have to have that internal drive. You have to have that internal kind of cheerleader as well, because it is going to be scary. As we know, it's scary to start your own thing. And so I loved that you were like, I'm going to study this, and then I'm also going to go and then execute it. So way to go. That's really brilliant.
Yeah. And then I did do, during my MBA, I did an internship at the local, for us, it's the Colorado Department of Transportation. And, I had never worked in a nonprofit and or a government, or state job before. I've always been in the private sector. And that was really important to me, that I wanted to get a little taste of that, because it's completely different. And then now, having been in it, I worked there for a little over a year. Talk about another mentor. Different. Oh my gosh. There's this woman there that she just changed my life. And again, she made me believe, she made me come back to knowing that there was really good mentors again. So it was like you said, it's a full circle. That. It was the most incredible thing. But it's different, when you work as an entrepreneur versus in the corporate private sector into the public sector. Right. So different. And pivoting right now as a young entrepreneur, actually anybody really right now, pivoting and being able to adjust is so important, because not everything is like what it used to be, just corporate America, or just, like you can make a living, and you can make a movement and a staple and a change in so many different paths nowadays. You don't have to stick to one.
It's so true. I love that you.
Stay tuned for a quick message from my sponsor.
Hi, my name is Shari Hodis, and I'm the president of Aura Limited, a proud all-women-owned brand marketing and global sourcing agency. Simply put, we provide fashion-forward swag for any and all of your branding needs. Please visit us at www.auralimitedspelledout.com.
that. Okay, so I want to know how you got the name, the Organized Flamingo. I just love that. It makes me happy. It really makes me happy.
Well, flamingos make me happy. I loved flamingos, as you can see. I mean, I love flamingos in general. And but when I started studying flamingos, this is years and years ago. I don't know why. Just one of those things that, you start looking up, you go down the rabbit hole. And flamingos rely on their flock just for survival. And that's why, when you see them in those big clusters and flocks, because that's how they can travel best and not be eaten or
right.
just be protected. And so I realized from there that we are, to survive, we should be a community. To survive, we don't have to do it alone. And so my services are all about helping people get more organized. You don't have to do it alone. You don't have to feel overwhelmed by yourself. You can ask for a little help, and that's where we come in. So we want to be part of your flock. So that's how the Organized Flamingo came about. I loved flamingos. I love the way they look. I'm very slender. I'm very slender, and I have very slender legs, aka, like flamingo legs,
legs,
full on sticks. So I thought it was cute, and from there it stuck. It's stuck from there.
Right. Oh my God, I love that, stick legs. My sister has stick legs.
Yeah.
So I want you to tell me a little bit. I love that too, and I love how you studied it, and then the whole you really embodied what a flamingo is into your business. What are some of your what is your sweet spot? I know you help organize people. You talked about organizing parties and doing all those things. What is your sweet spot? Can you share that with my audience, and then tell them where to find you, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So our sweet spot is finding solutions that fits your lifestyle. Our slogan is organization that fits your lifestyle. So we come and figure out a way and find ways that will help you be more organized. So it could be, hey, I am so overwhelmed. My closet needs some help. So I have a wonderful staff and myself that can help you do that. But if that's not the place where you're overwhelmed, it's I just feel overwhelmed and I don't know why, we come in and we talk to you about a couple things. We have questions to ask you, and then we come to the core of why you're disorganized, why you feel that way, and then we come up with solutions. So it could be, hey, let's come up with a plan, or it could be, I think it's your closet that's overwhelming you, so let's take care of that. So we come up with solutions to help with the overwhelm and make you feel a little more productive, a little more fresh, lighter. So that's what we do. And people can find us either by going to our website, which is the organizedflamingo.com, just how it sounds, THE, organizedflamingo.com, or any of the social media platforms. We're at the Organized Flamingo.
Perfect. Okay. I love that. And I love how you created a business out of your passion. That's why when the other Stephanie said, you have to meet the Stephanie, it's so true. So do you also go into businesses, or are you doing individuals or families?
We do. I've done both. And because of my corporate background as well, we'll do workshops. So we can do workshops on how to declutter your email, for instance. If people, Outlook seems to be a big one. So we kind of do a workshop where, okay, let's come up with a system that works for you and your staff and your group or your team so that they don't feel so overwhelmed. We also talk about the Organization 101. What is it? Why it's important? And so put topics that align with whatever the corporate goals are. We come in and we help people get organized in businesses.
Okay, perfect. So what do you have do you have a particular, do you or is it kind of multi, two-handed? You enjoy this and you enjoy that, or do you have a specific one that you enjoy more?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, okay. See this is part of the gift. This is why I followed my passion, because I don't see it as siloed. I see it as one affects the other. So your business affects your personal life, and your personal life affects your business, whether you're in corporate life or you're an entrepreneur. So for me, in what we do, I love both because it's all one. Thinking of them separately is hard, and so I enjoy both. I really do.
No, I love that.
Affects the other.
No, I love that you said that, because it's so true. And as I was talking to you, I'm going to skip because my husband's home. I'm going to let the dogs down. I'm so sorry.
Yep.
I usually
no worries.
Don't do that. Oh,
no worries.
Okay. Dan, I have to let them down. Honey, I have to let them down because I'm interviewing and they're barking literally the entire time because there's a turkey out. So There's like 5 turkeys. I'll be down in like 10 minutes. Okay, so sorry. Now they won't be barking though. But I love that you said that it goes hand in hand. And I like anyone that's going to watch this recording on YouTube, they're going to see in your face and how excited you got because you were like, but I love both. And so it was like you couldn't pick. But then that was a perfect answer because it does go hand in hand. If you're disorganized in your life, you're going to bring that to the workplace. And if you're disorganized in your workplace, you're going to bring that home. So that was like, I mean, literally, and I didn't even think about it, but the perfect answer because like you just see how excited you got in your face.
Well, I mean, I'll give you a great example. For instance, for some people, like, well, are you a home organizer or a business? And I'm like, well, here's the thing. When you get up in the morning and your closet is disorganized, and I always talk about closet because closets is kind of a common thing, but when your closet is disorganized and you can't figure out what to wear to work, now you're late, now you're rushing, now you don't even know where to start. You get to work, you're flustered, and then it just escalates.
Right.
So the closet, sure, we come in to do your closet, but we like to think of it as we bring you harmony and balance in the rest of your life, like the other parts of your life, because that will affect other parts of your life.
And it does. And it's really funny that you said that because as I said, I wouldn't say I'm disorganized. I'm messy. So I'm definitely messy. But, during the whole pandemic, and we used to have, a cleaning lady come more often than obviously we didn't have her come at all in the pandemic. And I remember being like, oh God, okay, first of all, I suck at cleaning. It's just, we'll kind of say that.
It's not your zone of it's not your zone of genius. It's somebody else's.
Right. And I'm actually okay with that. Like I'm okay. I'm okay with not doing it. Just like I say, I'm okay not being a great cook. My husband's a great cook. So I'm okay with not doing it. But it was really interesting because there was days where, everyone home, laundry, doing laundry all the time and then being like, okay, can you guys take your laundry? I know like a couple months ago it was folded and put here and then you had to take it, they still had to take their own laundry, but like this is not happening because now I'm doing it. So, I'm doing the folding. I always do. I actually don't mind laundry. I don't like folding and I don't like sorting and I don't like putting away. So I guess
and some people do, and there's great services out there for that.
Right. And fortunate enough that we were, we've been blessed that we could do that. So, so the kids would be like, oh, all right. And we, a lot of times my oldest does his own laundry because it's like, you know what, when you get into the real world, you might not have this luxury right now. So I would like you to know how to do this. But there was days where I felt like everything was exploded, right? There was dog toys everywhere, shoes everywhere. And I don't know why the shoes were everywhere because we weren't going anywhere, but I guess the one dog would take the shoe out of the thing. And I can live in chaos probably more than other people. Like I do know that. And I do know that from my family growing up. And, I do know I can live in a little bit of a chaos, but every time I was like, we're cleaning this entire house. It's going to be spotless and we're organizing. We're putting things away and doing all that stuff. You just feel accomplished. Mm-hmm. So I hear what you're saying. Like and I think I redid my closet one day and it was like, I forgot about that shirt, because if I don't see it, I kind of forget about it. That's just the way my brain works. Mm-hmm. So it's really important that you said that because that is the person that wakes up in the morning that's scrambling through their closet because they can't find it or they didn't put their clothes away and they knew they had that black shirt, but where the hell is that black shirt? That used to be me. That used to be me.
Just hypothetically.
Right. Talking about myself when I lived in the city. And then you were late for work and you would get there and you'd be sweating because you were rushing and you were like, now you have a small black shirt on because you didn't have the one that you wanted because you didn't put your stuff away. So it really does speak. You just feel less chaotic. Is I think such another word for it. So I love that you do that. So now you don't do things just local, right? Mm-hmm. Were you always virtual or did it just kind of grow more because of the pandemic?
It grew right before the pandemic. Actually, last January, so right before the pandemic, I had a goal to move to 90% virtual by the end of this year, and then the pandemic really hit, the numbers, but they weren't correlated. No. And then the pandemic hit and of course we know what happened. So that really just made me escalate that and rush that. So but I do both. So I have wonderful clients locally here in Colorado. I also have virtual clients. So I do both.
So the other thing is that I think is like kind of something that has been brought up a couple times, not brought up, but I'm hearing it a couple times, is that you also, whether you believe in God or the universe, you have been blessed with many different things. Right place, the right time, right thought at the right time. I mean, and you obviously have to manifest that. It's not just something that happens. Like, you've worked hard to have that, but the fact that you had that mentor, right in the beginning, and then, you kind of worked through that, found like, I want to work on my own, did that, you had that opportunity. But the fact that you also decided, okay, I'm going to be have virtual before the pandemic, and then the pandemic hit. I mean, you must have been like, wow, I'm ahead of this. This is amazing.
It was the craziest thing. I was, of course, like super sad about what was happening.
No, I'm so right. I'm sorry. I shouldn't say that.
I just couldn't believe it. Like, because you know what, it also allowed people to get more comfortable with the virtual thing, because that was an obstacle of mine. Like, how am I going to have, how can I be in the person's space and make them feel comfortable when I'm not in their space? So,
right. Well,
and now it's just norm. Now it's okay.
Right. And that's the thing. I mean, and again, right, the pandemic sucks, whatever you say. I'm not a component of it. So I know it seems like I got very excited for you about it, but
yes.
It just kind of aligned. It aligned with what your goals were. And you had 3 or 4 times before where things aligned with what your goals were. And again, as I said, you had to manifest that. It's not that it all of a sudden just came out of nowhere. Like, you've had to work hard and behind the scenes. But I love when that happens. And that's what I say again to my clients, to the listeners of this podcast. You have to work hard, but you also have to be consistent. I mean, I really think the consistency, like, you could come up with an idea and it's just not going to happen like that. You need to like run the ideas. You need to like do the behind the scene work. And so the fact that you did the behind the scene work, because that was your goal before the pandemic, to go virtual. Then when it happened, you were like, okay, I'm ready to roll, because I know what I'm doing, because I just had a couple months under my belt to do it. So I love that. So can you tell everyone again where to find you?
Yay! Yes, so you can find me on all social media platforms at The Organized Flamingo, and or the website www.theorganizedflamingo.com.
Okay, so now I want to hear, and if you can pick one, and if not, you can pick a couple, like one client, and you don't have to use their names, or one organization, or one thing that you were like, I changed their life, and it just like it was a bigger impact than you expected. You know, maybe like you went in not thinking it was like going to be what it was, and it bloomed into this amazing thing. Do you have any situations that you can share with me about that?
Yeah, two that are huge. One that, they just have, they have a family. They had a blended family, so everything just happened very quickly. And when you blend families together, as we all know, I mean, we all have different habits, we all have different ways of doing things, and so it was kind of difficult. So that was really inspirational and also wonderful, because it was almost like that immediate feeling of relief, like of it all worked out.
Right.
So that was really fun to see, because it was so immediate. Everybody just saw that there was a flow. It was like tidy. Everything had a home. You know, I'm a really big proponent that everything needs to have a home. So that was just felt like it flowed, and everybody was so thankful. And so that was an immediate
that has to be a good one.
Hug. Yeah.
Right. Because especially, because that's hard times to have a blended family, especially depending on the ages of the kids, ages of the parents. And the fact that you could go in and find that immediate, like everyone being like, okay, that had to be a really good feeling.
Like, this isn't, sometimes you'll argue about why did you leave this here and why did you leave that there? And then that just escalates to other things. Well, this just felt like this wasn't their space, and their stuff wasn't going to be the reason as to why there was going to be any animosity here. If it was going to be something, it was not going to be that. It wasn't going to be like this shoe that's out of place. So that felt really good, and they were so thankful, and they're so sweet. And then the other was a move. I love doing moves because it's when people really realize how much they have. So that one's even business moves, both business moves and people like homes moves, because that's when people realize, like, oh, I have a lot of stuff.
Shit.
Yeah. And so those are fun for me.
Right. Because so do you help when people move? Because we've moved, and then we have 2 houses in one. Half of the first house is in the basement. We sold a lot of stuff, but there was stuff that we didn't sell. And we just look and we're like, we have a lot of stuff, and we're planning on doing, a yard sale, a garage sale, estate sale, whatever you want to call it, because we have some really good stuff. Like, we realized, we have all our wedding china. I don't know. I know someone said to us, don't get china. And I was like, we're going to get china. we have china, like beautiful pieces that we don't use. I'm like, we really need to sell that. So we've gone through and done that, or given it away, given stuff to charity, because I'm like, you know what, we don't need that. Someone else is going to need that, and it's really important. So when someone moves, like when they're packing up, do you help them like with the initial pack up, or it really depends when they hire, like the initial pack
Depends
up?
on when they hire me. So we have a conversation, and then I just kind of give them, usually there's that 3 steps, the pre-planning, and then the actual packing, and then the unpacking. And so I let them choose which one or all, which service they need or want. Sometimes they're really good about planning. They just don't actually want to pack the stuff. So then that's when we come in. Sometimes they hate the planning. They can put stuff in bags. They just need somebody to give them a roadmap. So then we'll give them a roadmap. And then sometimes they just hate unpacking. Like they're over it by then. So they just need someone to come unpack. And some people don't want anything to do with anything of a move. So we just do all 3.
I'll do 3, right? Because I was going to say, so I usually, when we moved, I, again, was fortunate enough that it was like, okay, you're just going to take this closet. I've taken stuff away that we don't need anymore, donated a lot of stuff. The town that we used to live in had a great, it was called the swap shop. So you could just bring stuff for free, and then someone else can come and swap it out, and they can take it for free. And that was like my heart, because I had so many like kids stuff like that. I had really great memories of my children that I didn't want to give away, but like a crib that they didn't use in like 8 years. My husband's like, why do we have a crib? Because the baby slept in it, and I don't want to get, he's like, but it's in the attic and no one's seeing it. And I was like, yeah, but I'm not ready. And so it was really nice to be able to go there and give it. I remember the Lego table and my kids weren't huge Lego, but they like did like, they did stuff. Like they didn't do the Legos where it was like, let's build a car. They would build like, towers out of it.
Towers. Yeah.
So I had the Lego table, and they had, it churned over, and it was a coloring thing, and it was like, had drawers. It was like a really special piece. And I remember like when we were packing up, he's like, okay, no one's used that in like, a couple of years. And I was like, I know. All right, I'm going to bring it to the swap shop. I brought it, and this woman with her child was standing there, and she like squealed. She was like, oh my God, I've been looking for one of those, and I haven't been able to find it, because I had like an older one. It was like a sturdy one. It was like a good one, like the ones that were like plastic. So it was like a really good one. She's like, and her kid was like, Mom. And the mom started crying. And then I started crying.
Made me cry.
It made me cry. Right. And then, so that was like really sweet. Then my stroller, I had the Bugaboo, which like in the city, it was like, a really nice stroller. And again, I didn't want to give that away, but it was sitting in our garage. And my husband's like, okay, I know like if your brother comes, I'm sure he's going to bring his own stroller. Like, what are you going to do with that? And I had so many amazing memories in the city of my children, even though I carried them most of them were carried, but I always had the stroller just in case like we needed to throw a scooter or something on it, or groceries or whatever. And I was like really sad to give that up. But again, the swap shop took that, and someone right away was like, oh my gosh, you're giving this away. And I was like, I know I'm not selling it. I probably could get a lot of money, but I would rather give it to someone that needs it. And it was a person that her daughter didn't have a lot of funds and was like in like dire straits of a stroller. So she was able to take that. So like things like that. So I love that you kind of help your clients be able to do that and let go of certain things, and then and do that. That's a beautiful thing. So that has to feel good.
It does. Yeah. That makes me happy. It makes my heart. That makes it all worth it, really.
Right. And so you can see that you love what you're doing. So I just have to say thank you so much for reaching out and having, Stephanie, if you're listening to this, thanks for putting Stephanie and I together. But it's really, again, as I said to you, the name just made me happy. And even though I am not someone that's like, organized, I don't consider myself organized. I know the value of it because it is so important in really living your life. But I love that you found something that you were good at, and we're like, I can make this a business and really help people. So kudos to you.
Thanks. Well, thank you for having me. This has been so much fun. I love this. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. Guys, if you like what you heard, if you liked what you heard, you know what to do. Share, rate, review, and don't forget to check out each week, Monday and Wednesday, we are doing interviews with people that have followed a passion and turned it into a career. So thanks again, Stephanie.
Thank you, Juliet.
I hope you liked this episode of Your Next Stop. Please subscribe to my channel, share with your friends, and join in each week.